Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I quickly wish to speak about rice and bust a few myths around it. But before we get into that, I quickly want you to get in 3 deep breaths. You know you need it. You can always bring your hand to your heart center and just feel more grounded. It is always practices like these that brings you to now, that can make you feel okay, centered and grounded in the middle of a very chaotic day, and just always knowing and just having this sense of knowing that you are taken care of, you are guided, and there is something that is taking care of you. So always make time to get in lots of deep breaths. Now, to quickly touch upon rice, I think the biggest myth around rice has to be that rice makes you gain weight or rice is a very fatty food. And I absolutely wish to differ for a lot of reasons. But you always have to understand, when we speak about carbohydrates, fats and protein, there is something known as synergy of food. There is a way you prepare it. There is a way with the intention with which you are eating your meal. And if you think that the food you are eating is going to make you fat, believe me, there is a 30% chance via placebo that it is exactly going to do the same, because every cell of your body is listening to every morsel of the food that you put in your mouth, and that actually really changes the game. Okay, now when we speak about rice exactly isn't a carbohydrate, and it can act like a resistant starch, just like, say, raw banana or a boiled white potato. Okay, so what happens is, a lot of people have this tendency where they would just boil the rice together and they'll throw away the water thinking they are throwing away the starch. But whenever you want to prepare your rice, you want to know that you do not want to throw away the water. And actually, a beautiful way to prepare it would be to add a tablespoon of ghee or a tablespoon of coconut oil. Now, the fats present inside the coconut oil and the starch present is going to combine together, and it is going to chemically change the structure of the starch, and now it is going to act like a resistant starch. So what does basically resistant starch mean? Resistance, as the word says, is something that is going to resist the digestion. It's going to resist the movement in the stomach and small intestine. It is going to go to your large intestine, and it is going to feed the gut microbiota that sits there, and it's actually going to be food for the gut. And that is the reason why rice is known as health food, medicinal food. A lot of people, a lot of practices in Ayurveda 100% recommend eating rice. Even a small newborn child or an infant or someone who is old, someone who does not have teeth in their mouth, can yet eat rice. That is how sattvic it is. So you always have to remember, yes, if you're eating only carbohydrates, if you're eating only sugar and carbs, it is going to spike your blood sugar, which in turn is going to spike your insulin, and it is going to have a negative detrimental effect in the long run. Like I said, the way you eat food, the way you pair food, the way you prepare it, the intention behind eating changes the way the food molecules work inside the body. Okay, so when you are eating rice, you always have to know rice is not the main meal. Okay, you want to combine your rice with your dals, your lentils, legumes, pulses, vegetable preparation, salad, pickle, all of these beautiful homemade things, and maybe always keep a ratio of 1:2. So if I am having 1 tablespoon of rice, I will have 2 tablespoons of sabzi, or say 2 tablespoons of dal. Now, a beautiful thing about this is this whole myth that vegetarians and vegans do not get enough protein. Yes, for some people who are not eating correctly, can be thing for them. But for most of us who are eating and preparing and just, you know, eating synergetically with the way nature intended us to eat and with the way our ancestors have been eating, so we have always been eating rice and dal and roti and sabzi. So let's say rice lacks the essential amino acid lysine and dals would not have methionine, but when you combine it together, it will just help the body in the production of protein. So just combining rice and dal is again a complete source of protein for anyone who is worried about their protein sources. Of course, if you're someone who's into building and bulking and just being buffed up, you're going to have different scenarios, but for layman people like you and me, it works really, really well. Now with rice, white rice, brown rice, black rice, red rice, see, red rice is great, black rice is great. I personally prefer white rice over anything. So even when we put someone on a gut healing protocol or on an autoimmune protocol, we always, I would say 80 to 90% we do recommend eating rice. Now this is the whole thing behind white rice and brown rice. There is not a lot of nutritional difference, there is not a lot of caloric difference and everything, but always understand the brown rice is something that has its husk intact, whereas the white rice is polished and that thing is removed. Okay, now the husk around the brown rice, if your gut has not been exposed to it as a child, and if you're not really, you know, your body does not really knows how to break it down, it can actually irritate your gut lining. And that is why when you you know, eat it, when you're sprouting it, fermenting it, and then making a powder out of it and then eating it, then it becomes more digestible, because the sprouting and fermenting takes away the pressure from the gut microbiota. Okay, and when it comes to white rice, that outer husk is not really present, and it can really be helpful for the gut microbiome to easily digest it. And with white rice, it's not going to spike your blood sugar. A, you are pairing it correctly. B, you cook it and you cool it down and you don't cool it again. So with resistant starch also we have RS1, RS2, RS3, RS4. I believe the white rice and potatoes and bananas all come under RS2, and the minute you cook it and then you cool it and then you eat the cold chawal, so the preparation of rice kanji is, again, it's not carb, it's actually going to have, like, you know, a very mechanical function inside the body. Fiber anyway will not spike your insulin, fat will have little to no effect on your insulin spike. So the minute you add a tablespoon of ghee, a tablespoon of coconut oil, you put in some herbs and spices, or you make like a nice fried rice or pulao, it is actually really wholesome food, and I highly recommend that you put it in your diet. And it is, so depending on your blood sugar levels, for someone who is a diabetic, I would suggest check with your doctor, see how the blood sugar is fluctuating and everything. With me personally, I have done so many type 2 diabetes reversible as you watch this video and as I speak, and I put them on a very heavy rice-based diet, but we calculate everything for them and we put it in a way that they are getting enough protein, essential amino acids, enough fiber, and then we include the rice. Rice is not the main meal. Rice is more like a starter or a side dish, and you don't really actually fill up your stomach with eating rice. So if you're eating kilos and plate full of rice, of course it can have a negative effect. So that is something that you have to take care of. When it comes to black rice, I love black rice. When it comes to like making a nice hearty bowl of a meal for your kids, you can put in some coconut milk, some jaggery, or maybe A2 cow's milk, and just mix it all well together and feed it to your child. It's rich in antioxidants, it's rich in phytonutrients, it's great for your liver. I always emphasize a lot upon micronutrients, something that all of us are lacking in. So your selenium, your manganese, your phosphorus, copper, all of these things are present in rice. It also has a great profile of B vitamins, including B6, which is great for your joints and bone health. So over and all, it's the yummiest, it's one of the most yummiest food you can eat. Like, I can eat rice all my life, and even with me also. So for when I was trying to lose weight and I'm just trying to tone up and just build good lean muscle and everything, I'm still including rice in my diet. And especially for females who have issues with their body getting rid of excess estrogen, or if you're someone who is constipated, or if you're someone who has cardiovascular issues, I highly recommend eating rice, because it's going to create a nice bulk. Like I said, it's going to feed the gut microbiota, and believe me, you want to keep your gut microbiome happy, because that's where the diseases begin and end, and that is where the healing begins and end. So rice is a health food, superfood. You must all eat it. I personally prefer white. It can be unpolished, preferably it can be white long basmati rice, and you pressure cook it. You add some coconut oil, you add some ghee, you can add some cloves, lavang, you can add some jeera, you can add 1 or 2 star anise, I think 1. So you don't have to chew on it. Just when you're making it, you can just let the essence of those herbs and spices go into the rice. Don't throw away the water, let it absorb all the nutrients, and then eat it. And I hope now on you can very safely and happily enjoy your dal chawal. And please take care of yourself. Have a great day.